RejuvNation podcast hosted by my man's Timeless Trev. Alright, you're gonna need a couple takes of this one.
Keep my boy Norm in the picture.
This your boy LeVar Money Making L, and you tuned in to the RejuvNation podcast.
It's my turn?
It is.
We're here. It's recorded.
What's up? It's Norman Oates. You tuned into the Rejuv-Nation podcast.
RejuvNation podcast.
The RejuvNation podcast.
The RejuvNation podcast with our guy, Timeless Trail. Boom. Yes, sir.
Check. 1 2 1 2. It's your boy Timeless Trail, and you're tuned into the RejuvNation podcast, hosted by yours truly. And as you can see, there's a gang of individuals here with me. And for this take, I kind of want to do another approach with the podcast. But before I go into details about it, I want everyone to introduce themselves. So where we going? We can start with Norm. Go ahead, brother.
I am Norman Oates, professional portrait, wedding, and event photographer, based in Hartford County.
Okay. That was too good, Lee?
Yeah, I ain't practiced this. I'm Lee Williams, entrepreneur, owner of Elite Yardworks, landscape maintenance company in Hartford County.
Okay. Sorry.
Jamie Tobias, global director.
Talk that shit. Talk that shit.
Editor.
Global.
If y'all know about Haywire Weekend, you better get familiar.
And live the life you deserve, baby.
Go ahead, bro.
Listen, talk that talk. LeVar Mitchell, school social worker. I ain't global, but I'm from Hartford.
Yeah, man. And first, before I go into more details, I just want to thank every individual here for taking their time out. Everyone got shit going on, but I decided to come chop it up with your boy, and I'm highly grateful for that. So, but I feel like for all the podcast episodes I do, we talk about like creative stuff, and we talk about what's hot, like the songs or like events and stuff like that. But for this one, I want to touch more on like the realness of being a man. In a sense, I feel like everywhere I go, I see a lot of. And shout out to the Nubian Queens and all the other ones out here putting out podcasts about like self wealth and growth and just really manifesting the right energy. But I don't see any dudes doing it. And I felt like I wanted to be at least one person from Connecticut that takes time, might not be every episode, but at least some, to talk about like what it means to be a man, you know what I'm saying, and what not to do it with fellow entrepreneurs, people that's been in the field. Some are married, some are, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, out the way, get that out of the way now. So, I just want to take this time.
So keep it clean.
Yeah. So, I just want to take this time and really I want everyone to kind of just go in the background about who they are real quick, how you kind of got started in your field. I've known majority of you since you started your career, whether you transition from something to another thing or you just started as this, and I want the people to hear it too.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna start with you again.
I'll start.
Okay.
So I'll keep it short. Years ago, I've been shooting 8 years now. About 10, 12 years ago, I was in like a music group. I used to rap. Wasn't the best rapper in the world, but my friends rapped and they made beats and stuff like that. So you just do what your friends do. You're young, having fun. So I spent a few years like in a rap group and just like making songs and performing here and there, like in the area. I bought my first camera to shoot music videos for the rap group. Soon realized that it's very hard to shoot your own music videos. You still need a cameraman. So I fronted the money for it, and then it was like, all right, who's shooting it now? Who's editing it?
Right.
I don't know how to edit it. I don't know how to shoot it. And it was just like, all right. So it sat on the shelf for like probably like 6-7 months. And then a friend of mine got into promoting parties, and he was like, yo, bro, you still got that camera? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I'll give you $50 if you come to this party, you know what I'm saying, and take some pictures. And I was like, well, I was gonna come anyway.
So
might as well get a couple dollars and get in for free. So like that's how that started. And I literally worked a few of his events, like 3 or 4 of his events, met some promoters at his party. They brought me to other clubs in the area. And I went on like a tour between 860 and the 203. I worked probably every club that ever was open. I worked clubs that were renamed 3 times. It was to a point where I was working the club. I was working like 40, 50 club events a week. Like every Friday and Saturday I was in the club working. And from working the club, I would meet like young ladies and they'd be like, yo, do you do photo shoots? And I was like, and it reminded me from 3 years prior, I was just like, yeah. Like, I was like, I'm going to stop saying no to people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah. So I booked my first photo shoot. And then after I was editing and learning how to do that, I was like, I actually like this. And I like doing this more than working the club because it was the same people and, you know, just the drama and the fighting and it's just not. It's not a good environment to be in, and you don't get paid that much to be in that bad environment.
Right.
So it was just like, I just want to do like private events. So I realized I liked it. I honed in on it, and I just went to YouTube University, watched every YouTube tutorial for like, I'm talking years. I was just like, how you edit, how you soften skin, how you remove blemishes, and it just, you know, just went on for like the next 4 or 5 years, and then I became who I am today from that.
Fire.
Motherfucking goat.
Say it with your chest.
Damn, we gotta come this way next time. Shit, what's the question?
How'd you get started?
How you got started?
Oh man. Okay. So it was easy. I bought a house, right? I bought a house, and I had to take care of my own property. And I remember my father-in-law telling me, like, if you're gonna buy stuff, buy commercial stuff. You know, don't waste your money at Home Depot. And that's how it started. And long story short, I remember I got a remember when you like in school and they give you too much money and they send you the check?
Oh yeah, the refund check. Oh yeah.
Run it up. What you talking
Refund
about?
checks is dangerous.
Yeah, so I had the refund check, and I used that. It was like right on time. I used that to buy my first mower, and again, long story long, I was working at a company. I was unhappy. I was making money here, you know, doing a normal 9 to 5 and a side hustle thing. And then one day I just said, yo, I got to do something different. You know, it started to like impact me mentally, impact my home life and things like that. And I'm like, I'm making money here, but this makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And I got the fuck out of there. So, and now we here.
And before we even get started, shout out to She's Basically podcast. If you haven't caught his episode on there, catch it out. I learned a lot about you on there.
Yeah.
I learned so much. I was like, yo, I got to get him on the show. And he's like a hot commodity. Like, she lit you on fire. Like, this dude been on like 3 other ones. I'm like,
I appreciate that, man.
So-
I appreciate that.
Now Lee definitely got to start talking more.
Yeah.
It's a story behind every entrepreneur's journey, everybody's journey, but entrepreneurship is so hot right now. It is like, yo, we want to hear the story because we know if you're doing it full time that you got a story. Like, you know what I mean?
all right. You up?
Yeah, so for me, I'll probably say things started off sophomore year of college when I went to Central Connecticut State University. And at the time, I only had I think it was an iPhone 4. And I just remember on some nice days, you know, after eating our meals or whatever, friends would just ask me, hey, bro, can you take a photo of me for the Instagram? Back then, like, you had to like really get your flick off. Like, so I was like, yeah, sure. So I'm over here on my iPhone, like taking photos of people, whatever, and they actually like them. So people be just waiting outside. I'll take the photos. I'll edit them on the phone, on the Photos app, whatever. Still do that to this day. And I think the following semester, I took a photography class with that same phone because I couldn't afford a camera at the time. Till that refund check came in.
It's lit.
Run it up.
That refund check was how I actually bought my first camera. It's a Nikon D5100, and I used that for years. That and a nifty 50 millimeter, and I literally took off running. You know, doing photo shoots, weddings, literally with the same lens. Like, hey, you do this?
It's
Yeah, I
all
do
purpose.
that. Yeah.
It's all purpose.
Literally, and I would say no to nothing. Like, I would take every job possible just because I'm realizing now that would be a way for me to kind of refine the craft. And fast forward to 2 years later, senior year of college, I was doing an internship in CREC doing IT, and I just realized how miserable everyone was. So I went back to the lab one day and just in the midst of doing a project, I remember just thinking like, I don't love this, and I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And that's why I decided to take a turn, started applying to grad school, applied to NYU for film, not knowing how prestigious that school was. But I was like, you know what? At this point in time, I'm just going to go for it because if I'm meant to really step out of my comfort zone, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to just take every opportunity that presents itself because it was a free application. So I remember applying for that, applying for school in London. Then ended up getting into school in London. My uncle teaches there. So went abroad for about 2 years. Another refund check came through. And that's when I bought like all my video equipment. And since then, since then, that's when I kind of hit the ground running and just got into videography, doing everything.
Shout out to the big noops. Continue.
Well, I got into my career pretty much around 2011, 2012. Yes, sir. So for me, I went to Eastern Connecticut State University. I got my bachelor's in science and sports and leisure management with a minor in sociology, and I automatically went right into the school systems. And at first I realized, it's all right, because I got to teach kindergarten and first grade. And then I ended up becoming a sports, fitness, and recreation director at the Boys and Girls Club of Hartford. And from there, my first year, I saw a lot of the members just coming up to me for advice and seeking advice and just coming to me and trusting me with all of their like personal issues and some things that they couldn't even speak to their parents about. And then that's when I had a passion, like, maybe social work is my field rather than sports and leisure management. Prayed about it, and then I decided to take a leap of faith. And I went to grad school at UConn for my master's in social work. And then once I attained that in 2016, I continued working for the Boys and Girls Club. I obviously, with my master's, I also got an opportunity to, grow within the organization. And then this past year, while teaching at Eastern Connecticut State University, the Dean of Students referred me to Achievement First as a school social worker, which is crazy because Achievement First now was the old Fox Middle back in the day. So I felt like, wow, I came out of this neighborhood, I might as well give back to them. And ever since then, it's just been a blessing.
Word, man.
I think that's kind of dope though, because like I'm not too familiar with like the college system in regards to how degrees work, but I think it's kind of dope that you were able to come out with a bachelor's degree, kind of unrelated to what you went for your master's for, and it still works out.
Yeah.
Like, because I heard so many stories about people doing that and then like having to start all over.
Man.
But is it like start all over because you haven't attained the degree yet? So when you get the bachelor's degree, can you just do whatever as your master's? That doesn't have to be related at all?
Well, yes and no. So depending on what you get in your bachelor's, you can then pursue your master's in something else. Like, for example, with me, it was just a blessing because it just tied my first job tied into what I got my degree in.
Okay.
But at the same time, my job that I got, it opened up other opportunities and other thoughts of maybe I can go this route instead. And honestly, no offense to no one, but I feel a lot of people use that as an excuse because you could get your degree in anything and you could get a job anywhere else. This is how the society is working. Right. You could get your degree in engineering and end up being a school counselor. Like, things
which
happen.
is crazy to me. It's like, so what is it for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why are you going through all these ropes? And
I honestly feel like just because, take it from someone that I don't feel like when I obtained my degree, it gave me the most advantage coming out of school. Like, I did everything they said. I was a captain on the basketball team. I started the club. I was in the 3.5 GPA club. I had 2 degrees. I had like three internships. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was out here like really putting and I had an internship like at Cigna. Like, I was really doing my thing. And then I graduated a double degree in business management and marketing, and I couldn't find no damn job in marketing. Like, it was completely impossible. It was like the jobs I was getting. And no offense to like the school I went to, but the jobs that they had to offer, it wasn't competing with like a job you get like with a UConn degree, like all the kind of alma mater, like the people that graduated ahead of time and stuff like that. So I was struggling, bro, for like a while. I just now got a job in marketing that really is up my alley. Yeah. I graduated in 2014. It's 2020.
Yeah.
I just got it in December. Yeah. So like I had to I've shout out to Christina. Like, she helped me with my resume. I did my resume building with her.
Like, okay. From C3.
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
Yeah.
No.
I did my resume building with her. She like made my shit look amazing. Shout out to my boy Christian. He helped me like polish it up and stuff. And literally we're just out here like hitting LinkedIn. Like, it's really about just grinding and applying and just hoping that they pull your shit and they just are in a good mood. Like, for
I'll tell you what, man.
Like, let me get you face to face,
for
please.
real.
A lot of the times I'll get so discouraged, man, because I see people getting jobs at ESPN, people getting jobs like in the insurance industry, and I'm applying to everything, and I know I'm mad qualified. I'm very qualified for what I do, and I couldn't get a corporate job for nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm applying everywhere, LinkedIn, Indeed, like directly through the websites. And I would even be able to get a response back. We received an application. We decided not to, choose or move further with you as a candidate. And at that point, it was just like, yeah, man, son, I got to do something different.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many of those emails I received. We decided to move forward with somebody else.
It brought you got sued and tied up and everything.
But I think those moments, too, they help. Like, when you get to where you are now, you're like, yo, everything makes sense. I wasn't supposed to get that job.
Man.
I was supposed to
You
do
know
these
what?
things.
Let me tell you something, man. Because it's so hard for me to process that thought while I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
while I'm going through it, I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck.
because rent's due and
Yo, I'm
the
like,
car
bro,
note's due and the
why
cell
is
phone.
this shit not making sense? Everything y'all told me to do, I did it, and why did it not work?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, like I'm literally like looking at my checks. I'm like laughing at my shits at one point, like, yo, what am I gonna do with this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this kid afford shit, and like. I mean, now that I got the position I'm in now, I can say I'm grateful because all those places taught me something. But fuck,
Yeah.
When you in the too, like at the same time, you know, sometimes God put us in positions where we ain't gonna understand that until a year or two from now.
Yeah.
And you wonder at that moment, why me, why now? But God just had equipped you for something else, something greater.
Yeah.
And now you look back at it, you appreciate the journey. Because
Absolutely.
honestly, you using your journey as a testimony to help someone else out.
but why my shit gotta be so hard, bro?
Because it's not gonna be easy. You're not gonna appreciate it if it was easy.
I'll tell you
If
what,
you
though.
came through the ropes.
I'll tell you what, though, in the midst of all of that, I feel like it's a matter, like, in those moments of disappointment, it's a matter of how prepared you were for that moment.
Facts. We was talking about this in the car.
Yeah, I feel like if you were more prepared in the essence of that time, then maybe it would have been your opportunity, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
feel like we have to go through that in life. I'd rather go through that younger than, like, you know, I'm 35, still trying to figure out what kind of mistakes I'm making and, like, what's the result of how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, that's I want to segue into the topics because it seems like we're kind of already going down that route now. So I guess we can just touch on entrepreneurship first because everyone here has either at some form or fashion had an LLC or is in entrepreneur mindset right now. But like, I feel like today in today's society, everyone looks at entrepreneurship like the golden key. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start this business, and it's starting to really get annoying to me because it's like, y'all motherfuckers don't even really understand how hard this shit is. Like, how much like not even like financially, how mentally draining this can be to achieve your happiness with a point that it might not come, right? But it's like everyone, like society's like, oh, you don't like your job, start a business. You don't like this, start a business. You don't like this, start. And it's like. They're not telling you the right shit. So I kind of want to take this time to like touch on like how difficult entrepreneurship could be, but I mean how rewarding it is at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, personally, entrepreneurship has granted me the life that I've lived now. I've had multiple corporate jobs over the past few years. I worked for like telecommunications companies, a few call center jobs, which were like hell. Yeah. You know, every time the phone rang, it was like I would twitch. It would be like, oh my God, this
PTSD.
is awful. Yeah, it was terrible. But I have yet to find a job that I can make as much money doing what I love. Like I can't find a job that pays me what photography pays me, and I actually like it. Yeah. So at this particular point in my life, it's like I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not even qualified in any other field. You know what I mean? Like I can't do anything else but take great photos of people. Like I don't know how to do nothing else. So it's like this has to work. But 8 years I've been shooting. Yeah. It took me I didn't quit my job until about 4 years in. And I often tell people a lot because I get a lot of people who reach out to me because people know I'm a full-time photographer and they say, bro, you know, got this camera 8 months ago. How long is it going to take for I to quit my job? And I'm like, yo, the crazy thing about it is I'm going to tell you two things. You're going in it with the wrong mindset, first of all. Which tells me that you're probably going in it for money. Right. You have to actually enjoy what you do. No matter what you do, the money will come, but you have to enjoy what you do. It doesn't matter how much money you make. I had an opportunity to be a financial advisor this past 6 months, which I would have made just as much money as I make in photography there if I was killing it, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it. It was like an integrity thing. I didn't want to be in a position where I was selling products to people that made me money, but it wasn't the best product for them. Yeah. And when I educated myself on finance, I realized that a lot of things that financial advisors push on people line their pockets, but it's not really the best for their customer. And I didn't want to ever have that integrity issue going on with work. And I was just like, because I'm not going to want to sell you something, but I got a quota for this bad product. You know, I have to sell 5 of these a month, but I know this ain't the best thing for you. This is probably better for you with what I know now. But entrepreneurship, 4 years in, I finally quit my job, and it was only because I went back to school to become a dental hygienist. And the program was an accelerated program, and you can't work when you're in that program. So I had to make photography work. And I did 1 semester as a dental hygienist in school, and I realized I was like, wait, I've paid the rent for the past 5 months. I paid the bill. The boy's been good. My lady been good. I don't even want to be a hygienist. This is really was plan C that I was on now. It was like, I really want to be a photographer, but I'm just going to do this hygienist thing just in case it don't work out. But quitting my job and going to school made me realize I can actually live off photography. And then I was just like, let me just quit this because I don't really want to be in people's mouths for the rest of my life. I don't want to scrape teeth for the next 30 years. So I was just like, I'm done. Like, I realized over this first semester in school that like photography can support me. And ever since that happened, that was 2016. I quit January 2016, and I haven't been back since.
That's funny, man. I quit 2016 as well. Well, yeah, basically quit my job. I was working at National Car Rental, getting ready to go into the management program. Got accepted into school in London.
Management.
Management program. So I got the acceptance letter in about May, and I literally dropped everything. Like, I had a car payment at the time.
You had a Chris ass Audi, bro. That shit was so fire, bro.
Because I tell you what, though, in the essence of that time, I feel like that's what I needed to feel satisfied in society.
Yeah.
You know, I was more infatuated.
Let's talk about it.
Let's
talk about
it. Material things like, oh, I had an Audi. My friends had BMWs and Benzes. So I feel like I had to,
keep up.
Yeah, basically. In my mind, I had the job to afford it, but the sacrifice was my happiness.
Yeah.
And when I decided to move to London, I literally put everything down, made that move, and I haven't worked a job since, honestly. And I don't get me wrong, it hasn't been easy at all.
Absolutely.
Like, people might see me on social media and think that I have it all well made and like it's cool, but social media only shows you the highlights. You know what I mean? But I guess it's moments like this where I'm able to share the story. You know, we can share the experience for people to understand like what it actually takes to be an entrepreneur.
I think for me the big word is discipline, right? Like today I had to get up and go to work. I didn't go to work till 1:00 today, right? I didn't want to, but I knew like I had to get up and start getting things done. But I think it's all about discipline. It's not easy. Some people need to work jobs. They need that structure. They need like somebody to come. They need to punch the clock. Somebody to tell them exactly what they need. For me, as I started my journey, because I was doing it on the side, it was that happiness thing, right? I had 2 young sons, and they were getting older, and it was like fucked up. I couldn't teach my kids how to ride a bike because I'm at work, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can't do this. And I was making like good money. You know what I'm saying? I was like close to 6 figures. We had, cars and stuff that we could just pull off the lot. I'd come home one day in a Mercedes, come home the next day in a BMW. All I gotta do is put gas in it. That's it. And but you gotta, like my man just said, like, is that worth my happiness? It wasn't. Absolutely wasn't. Like it makes me feel much better getting my kids off the bus every day in my little Altima.
No, I ain't signing that deal. I know more lawyers than rappers. I need more than a mill. I know more hustlers than trappers. Nigga, words get them killed. I guess that's hustling backwards. These niggas jealous cause they fear me, but they really ain't no factor.
Niggas be thinking they soulful. We gonna turn on the Casper. You think your life like a movie? On Instagram being an actor. You get your chain took.
Let's see.
I was like, cool.
Alright, boom. We back on lap 2. So we had to take a little hiatus. I'm gonna have to get the gnome out the way. He was just all up the block and shit. It's my boy. We're gonna keep him right here. And then, just had to make sure the camera was just right. But what we left off was with discipline. And it's so crazy that you just said that because I was just talking to you about this shit like 30 minutes ago. Word on my, I'm just, like I was saying earlier, I'm just going through a time in my life, not bad, where it's just like I'm really trying to like process and observe my behaviors. Like, there's a lot of negative traits that you get from like just growing up. And for the longest time, I feel like I just been like trying to be such a good person that I overlook the negative parts of me, right? So like I might do something to someone that loves me, but I won't identify with it and understand the problem as to why I even did that in the first place. And it just kind of just has been affecting me at all angles of my life, where it's like I don't have a problem with taking accountability. I have a problem with, after I take accountability, fixing the problem so it doesn't occur again, so I have to fix my mistakes twice or 3 times or 4 times, right? And all this really came down to me feeling like I didn't have the right discipline or taught the right discipline, which you should be able to teach yourself. But just even growing up, like, you know what I'm saying, my mom was a single parent. Like, you know what I'm saying, my dad was around, but my mom raised me, and she worked night shifts and, you know, 12-hour shifts. And when she come home, she want to just sleep. So after you get off the school bus, come out the door, don't open that shit. If anyone knock, you don't answer. You feel me? Like, check in every 30 minutes type shit. But then also, like, you know, like, my friends was a little on the crazy side, so like I'll be out with them and my mom, you know what I'm saying? It's just like I didn't have someone like, yo, sit your ass home, do your homework and shut the fuck up, like, you know what I'm saying? Or just teach me like those. And yeah, my cousin came around when I was older to be like the male in my life, but by that time I kind of already had like,
you was already set in your ways.
Yeah, like I already had my foundation kind of structured. So I just really been taking the time lately to just figure out what's been missing, and it's been discipline, yo. So like lately, like everything I'm doing is like I'm just trying to like stay disciplined with it. So like if I have a meeting, bro, go to that meeting. You going to the gym? I go to the gym 6 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Twice on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like go to the gym, work out, eat healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even better, like when you wake up, give yourself some acknowledgement. Like greet yourself. Like sometimes I used to look in the mirror and I just be like, damn, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn. But now I'm just like, yo, fuck all that. Like, yo, you're a positive black man that's trying to figure it out in society. Like, just give myself affirmations. You know, give whoever else needs them, and just even like with relationships, you know what I'm saying? Like really trying to nurture those. So like, it's crazy that you talked about discipline, because that's like been like my focal point for like the last 2 weeks. And I kind of want to touch on that and like how disciplined you have to be like overall to be a successful male entrepreneur. That also your income is off of like people depend on you to make this happen.
Well, I could probably speak up on that, honestly, just because with my workload, I'm editing every single day. Probably putting in like 80 hours a week of like just post-production work. So what I'm realizing is that if I'm not disciplined, I can easily let my work get ahead of me and get distracted by everything that surrounds me. So I find myself having to, in the beginning of the week, set my priorities.
Absolutely. So as an entrepreneur, discipline is entrepreneurship. They go together. You can't have one without the other and be successful. I've noticed I've had to, in the social media world, the greatest thing about being an entrepreneur is that I don't have a boss. You know what I mean? But that's probably the worst thing that can happen to a person who's not disciplined, because you need structure. If you don't have a boss and you're not a disciplined person, you're not going to do anything. You're going to be back at work in 3 months. You know what I mean? When the unemployment runs out, you're going back. You know what I mean? Like, because you're just not, you have to set a structure. Like I said, I go to the gym. I wake up 5 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. I'm in the gym. 5:30, I'm on the Stairmaster. I'm in the gym till 7:30. 30 minutes out of that 2 hours, I'm not actually working out. I'm replying to like DMs or people who hit me up for advice, or responding to emails while I'm in the gym as well. It's just like my therapy, my alone time, no kids around, no wife around. I'm just boom, boom, boom. I'm lifting weights. And while I'm resting in between sets, I'm replying to people. Also, a lot of people, when it comes to entrepreneurship, they can't become entrepreneurs or business owners because they want to live 2 lives at the same time. They don't know if they want to be an entrepreneur or if they want to keep up with everybody else. And the problem is a lot of people cannot become business owners because of the debts that they carry in their bills. They're not disciplined enough to say, okay, let me get rid of the BMW and let me hop in the 98 Accord for the next couple of years that's paid off. Exactly. And you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that $500 carb note might be literally the reason why you can't become an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? That you know what I'm saying? So you have to cut out all your expenses. Your student loan is the reason why you can. Your car note is the reason why you can. You going out and spending $100 at the bar between Friday and Saturday every weekend is the reason why. You know what I'm saying? In the moment, $50 Friday night don't seem like much, but $50 Friday, Saturday night for 4 weeks, that's $400 a month. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, that's a car, right? That's a car, right? That's a car note in itself, and a lot of people don't realize that stuff. It's like the discipline is the whole thing. You can't make it happen without it.
Right. That's crazy that you mentioned, like, you know, sacrifice cars and stuff. Like for me at a time, I was obviously most of you guys know me, I was part of a network marketing company. And I was legit killing that company.
Sure was.
Killing it. I was like the top seller in Hartford for like the first like 4 years of me doing it.
Oh, wow.
Company paid for 2014 BMW 328 diesel. Like the money that I was getting as residual income, it was taking care of not only the car note, it was taking care of the rent at home, food on the table for my parents, and still a solid bank account. And I realized, all right, I want to get into doing other things, like obviously starting my own like entertainment company with my boy Eddie Brown. Shout out to Eddie Brown.
Shout out Ed.
With Total Grind. He's the president. I was the VP, but we started that up, and I'm like, you know what? I could put my money invested into the business I actually want to do, because reality, I didn't see myself doing what I was doing long term with that. So it's crazy that you mentioned like sacrifice, because boy, it was hard to giving up that BMW, but I realized I could put that money to other good use.
Yeah, you have so much other things that you can do with that money. It's like BMW, or am I buying groceries this month? Is what it comes down to as an entrepreneur, because you don't know, like this month might be lit and you make $5-6 grand and then the next month you make $1,200.
Yo,
it's so it's like
it's so crazy.
Whoa.
That you say that.
You know what I mean?
There's some people out here right now, I can tell just got the income tax check. These motherfuckers acting crazy. I'm like someone like I seen on Instagram, they was like, oh, complaining, whatever. The next week I seen with new grills, 2 rings, some bread. I'm like, yo, bro, you gotta get your life in order.
And I'm gonna take it easy on the income tax people, because you know March roll around, I be getting so many wedding bookings, and I be like, hey, yeah.
I think too, for me, discipline is like, I'm one of those people. I gotta learn the lesson. Unfortunately.
Oh my God.
My mother always said, "Hard head make a soft ass."
Yeah.
So, like I know the right things to do, but for me, like a lot of times I had to learn the lesson.
You got to feel the burn yourself.
I had to like be broke a couple times to realize you gotta start saving your money. You know what I'm saying? Like you fall into this pattern and you think everything's coming, but it only take a couple times the motherfucking overdraft fees and everything, or whatever the case may be.
And you never catch up.
Never.
And you never catch up.
You start to realize, like, boom, I can't spend money here. I need to do this. I need to do that. But for me, that's where my discipline came from. It was from failure. Yeah. It was from like like he talked about, like when you're an entrepreneur, you eat what you kill. Yeah. Right. So if you don't get your ass up and go to work, you're not gonna get paid. Right. If you get paid and you spend your money somewhere where you're not supposed to be spending it,
that's that. You don't even know when you're gonna get paid again. Yeah. Like you have an idea. You might have some meetings on the schedule. You might have some bookings, but most as an entrepreneur, most of your bookings can be canceled. Yeah. Like you might have like a weekly agreement with somebody, you know, to cut their grass every week, and then like week 2 comes around and they're like, it didn't grow enough. I'm good this week, you know, and I'll wait another week. Like
honestly, even touching back on that, like for me at this point, I'm not stepping on the crib unless it's for an opportunity for myself for like self growth or like the bag, in the sense of like, I feel not weird. Like I go to like the brunches and stuff, but I feel weird going to like parties and stuff now if I'm not going because someone has hired me to like take photos, because it's like that's just not where my passion lies anymore. And man, when I first started, boy, I came out hot. I was like party promoter, event coordinator, this, that, and the third, and I was really just living the best life. And then, you know what? I might have been telling you. So like, there's a point in my life where I'm at right now where remember when like you first went out and like you first like, and it was just like, damn, this was a beautiful feeling. I need to keep doing this. And then eventually that shit kind of like dwindled out. Like I'm at a point now where I'm in an older stage of my life where I'm still trying to figure out what that burn is now. Like back then it was the parties and
they call it like new car syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how nice your car is, the first 6 months is lit. Yeah. And then after that it's like it's the same. It's like shit. It's like the old bucket you used to drive, even though it's the nicest thing in the world. Right. The only problem is you feel like it's the old bucket, but your car knows $600. You feel me? So it's like wow.
So it's like now I'm just, and by the grace of God, man, like honestly, like picking up the camera has really like transformed the lens of my life. Like,
damn, that was powerful.
I mean, just to like even touch on it, like all right, full transparency. I had a party in August. It's called Love Day. It was beautiful. Like I feel like I went towards the biggest stop for this party. Like I spent a very huge amount of money on this party, and when it all came down to it, it was a good party. I had a nice little crowd and stuff, but it wasn't even close to like taking care of half the. Listen, Norm.
Yeah,
I was okay.
I was booked.
Okay, okay. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to pay like 3 DJs. I had to pay Norm. I had to pay Sean. I had to pay Ike. I had to pay security. That I had to pay all this shit. And by the time I left that party, which was in New Haven, so granted, it took me about 40 minutes to drive home.
That's a long ride home. Sad.
You ain't crying in the car, right?
The fuck I did it.
With nothing in your pocket.
The fuck I did it. I was bawling the whole ride home, and then even at that time, I got injured from work, so I had I wasn't getting my. If I laughed at a full check, just imagine how much I laughed at this check, right? So like, I'm literally in the crib. I don't have any money. I can't afford to go put gas in the car. That's how bad it is. I literally had to sit my ass down for like a month. And I just went back to drama like, yo, in this dark place, like, why did I start RejuvNation? Like, why did I do this? And I'm like, yo, I did it because I love content. Like, I always loved movies. I always loved films. I always loved music videos and documentation like that. I'm like, how you a creative director, but you ain't never even hold a camera?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, we gotta go get a camera. So I started doing research. Hit Jamie first. I hit Jamie. I hit Sean. I hit everybody. I hit you.
Mm-hmm.
I hit everybody. Like, yo, the basic stupid question that I now know is a stupid. Yo, what camera lens you use? If that's one pet peeve, I'll be like, bro. But anyway,
Still get that question.
every day.
Every day.
So I'm like, yo, so I'm looking for this camera. I find the Sony. You put me in. He found like an out the box joint from Best Buy that was like for like $1,800 because them shits was going for like $24.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I don't got Best Buy, but like my mom got a card. I was like, Mom, let me hold that down. I'll pay you back. And swipe that card. She held it down. She was definitely complaining the whole time. But
Your mom is a really nice lady.
Yeah, my mom. Let me tell you, my mom
believe in you.
Yo, my mom really. Yo, on submission, my mom really does. And I paid her back.
Yeah.
But you know, like since then, I think I've had a camera in my hand for like maybe 7 months.
Yeah.
I produced like 3-4 music videos. I do. I'm sticking my camera into a vest now. I seem pretty cool. Like I'm like, yo, that's this shit. But like now it's like, yo, this shit really brings life to me. Like I don't even give a fuck if y'all like my pictures. I don't even care. I like them, and when I post them, and when I see that you do like them, it just makes me feel more affirmed that I'm doing the right thing. But when I post these, man, I be like, I fall in love with these shits, man.
But look, that's the problem. I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's all that matters. You love what you do. You know, Norman just made that point a few minutes earlier. You gotta love what you do. And the thing about it is that look at your testimony in yourself. You went from your lowest point in your life. Damn,
That shit was
late
horrible.
20s, 30s, lowest point of your life. Most people would just crawl underneath a rug or something. But guess what? You was able to lift yourself up, use the perseverance, and understand, like, you know what? This happened. It is what it is. You identified your why, and you got hungrier for your why. And what happened after that? You was coachable and teachable. And the problem that a lot of us have, especially as like black men, our pride get the best of us. So when we get to our lowest points, we're afraid to ask for help, or afraid to seek help, or afraid to reach out to people that are willing to help.
Yeah.
Right? And guess what? You have people, look at the people at your table. You was able to say, these are the ones that actually I reached out to, and they never judged me or anything. They helped me get to where I am now. And now you love what you do.
Yeah, the biggest part in the black community, period, specifically with pride, is that, you know, we come from broken homes historically. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of pressure on us to like take care of not only ourselves, be self-sufficient, and take care of our children. A lot of us have children younger, you know what I mean, and get into these relationships, and it's just like you have so much pressure on you, and you don't want the next black man to feel like you under. Like the problem is not that you need help. The problem is that you're scared to ask for it because they now know your situation. That's the problem, and a lot of people don't want to share their situation with people. They want the help, but they don't want you to know that they messed up.
Yo, I need $1,000. I ain't gonna tell you why, but let me hold that down. I can kick you back.
Man, a lot of it's like the humility that you hold, man. Like I've come to realize from some decisions I made in the past that it literally takes humility for you to change the situation. Like certain things you can't get past unless you fully admit, all right, this is where I am, and there's only one way for me to get out, and I have to speak up about it, or else closed mouths don't get fed. You're gonna be stuck.
And that's how, like, for me, like, my journey shifted when I was able to start controlling my ego. Like, I'm able to say, like,
That's big.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I need help. I remember starting my business. I didn't even own a truck. I had a car, and I remember I sold the car to buy like this beat up truck, and now I'm like, people see me driving this rusty ass truck up and down the street, and I'm like, I don't care. This is what I have to do to try to get where I'm going. But that, for me, that was big. It was like, you gotta start to like control your ego and understand when that ego is activating. There's times absolutely you need it to come out, but most times you just gotta learn to control it.
Before we go to love, and I want to talk about ego, one thing that resonated from my story is like, how do you guys get yourself out that hole? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm telling you, Norman, because you were there. Like, that shit was so painful, and I felt so ashamed, and I felt so low for months. Like, that shit still bothers me.
It could bring you to depression for real.
Yo, no, I think it did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was at a point where it's like, I was like, yo, I'm completely fine if like Rejuv-Nation like packs it up right now. Wow. That shit was scary for me because I never thought like that. And you know, I think for me it was like one thing was I never, when I have an event, I never like get excited about it until it's there, because like you build all this like oh, it's gonna be this, and this person's gonna be there, and that person's gonna be there.
Expectation.
Yeah, like all that, you know what I'm saying? And then it comes and like this person wasn't there, so now a little glimpse of like your happiness gets taken because you don't see this person and that person, and this didn't go right, or you didn't make money, and now you like, damn, I expected so much. And that's what I did for that party. I expected so much from that party, and when it didn't come through, it just really broke me. And just circling back to the question of like, when you've been in that place where it's just like, yo, I don't even want to roll out of bed type shit. Like, I didn't really even have to. I was working from home, so I didn't really have to roll out of bed. Work it out. So, but how do you guys like work with that?
Well, for me, because we all have different stories. So obviously, I had low points in my life, both personally, financially, spiritually, and I realized, like, you know what? I had to humble myself. I had to realize, you know what? That a lot of us have a hard time looking in the mirror and be like, you know what? Damn, I take it. It's my fault. I went through this. No one's perfect. You know, as I mentioned, one of my cousins told me a crazy quote, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. You gotta be patient with people's imperfections. And the thing about it is, like, we're so focused on pointing out people's problems. We're not focusing on us. And I realized these are the problems that I had. I got myself to this lowest point in my life, but at the same time, it could always be worse. But most importantly, what really got me through was through prayer. Honestly, me being the godly man I am. At first, I wasn't like that. I grew up in a household where, you know, Jamaicans, all they want to listen to is Barrington Levy. And
I don't know what you talking about. My grandmother had me in church every Sunday, and I hated it.
But here's the thing, like, I grew up with my mom and my dad. My dad was just physically there, but not doing anything. My mom was a single parent, so we went from going to church all the time to rarely going to church. The only time we heard music, church-related music or religious music, is on Sundays, right? But then I got to really build my connection with God, my relationship with God. So when I got to those low points, all I could do is give God praise, and that's what got me uplifted to really motivate me to level up.
Man, what I'm gonna say about that is, I feel that, but even in that time, I couldn't, bro. I really could. Like, I'll be cause you, and if anyone knows me, you know I'm like one of those really positive, high energy. I try to keep everyone like, you know, happy around me and stuff, bro. It was to the point where I wouldn't even go out because I just didn't want to bring my energy around other people. Like, it was like, yo, I know if I go into this club right now and I'm in a section with my boys, it's gonna seep on them. It was like I was like drenched in like sadness and like aloneness. Like, I really felt like I would be like going through my phone, and especially at this time, it's like so crazy how shit works. But like, no one was checking up on me. No one was like, "Oh, what's up?"
That's
no one was,
no,
and
the most.
and it was just like, yo, damn, I show all this love, and I don't get none of that shit back. And I mean, yes, I do get it back now that I think about it. I'm in a better space, but I had to realize that love had to come from myself. But I can honestly say I don't even know if like I'm at the point where I can really even say I'm in love with myself again. At one point, I could be like, yo, I love every attribute about me, like my emotions, my posture, the way I talk, how I am.
Yeah.
Now it's a little foggy because I'm still trying to, I guess, re-identify who I am with myself.
Right.
Which is, I've never really done that, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I took.
no, you good.
like I say, I'll tell you something, man, and it comes all down to like how you embrace things. And what I'm realizing is that when it comes to my situation and separating myself from the ego, it's a matter of where I am currently and how did I get here and where do I want to go. And it's like in these moments of like evaluation, I'm thinking to myself, what is it that I want to do, you know? And in order for me to actually realize that this is my purpose, I feel like I had to be happy with where I am currently. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly, you know what I mean? Because I feel like, you know, God has a purpose for all of us, but it's our choice rather than not if we fulfill that purpose, you know, because we all live with permissive will. It's what we want to do and then what we should be doing. And we all have that choice. So it's a matter of like, all right, if I'm choosing to go down this route, what are the results going to be? And if I'm choosing to go down this route, what are the results going to be? And at the end of the day, I think that's what's going to determine where your ego is. And because you can have a positive ego as far as like, all right, like you know where you are and you're confident in that and you can project that energy out to other people where it could be beneficial to them. Then you have that ego where it's like, wow, you may not know that I'm hating on you, but like my outward expression is like, y'all support you, but deep down inside, you're not really happy for that person. So it's like, are you genuinely happy for that person? And what is that ego doing? Because at the end of the day, you had to look back, you go home to yourself and think, why am I like this? And it's like, I think it kind of goes back into like the humility thing. If I'm not genuinely happy, then why is it this way? And at the end of the day, you just gotta check yourself, man.
Yeah. So I'm a realist at heart, which makes me like very like end goal oriented, and that's kind of how I've been the past few years as an entrepreneur. That's really when I seen like growth in myself personally and within my business and my family, is that I started setting really like serious end goals. And it was like, what do I want to do? I want my lady to be happy. How does my lady become happy? She don't like her job. All right, how much money do I have to make for her to leave her job? What are the bare minimums I need to cover so that she can leave her job and start building something that she wants to build? And then it's like, okay, I hit that number. All right, you can leave your job now. You know what I mean? Also, it's like, all right, I want the 8-pack. I want the 6-pack. What do I got to do? I got to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning because I can go to the gym because I have the time at any time, but my lady's going to complain if I'm going to the gym midday. So, all right, I'm just going to be tired. You know what I mean? I'm going to set a 10 o'clock bedtime. I'm going to sleep at 10 o'clock. I usually used to go to sleep at midnight, 1 in the morning, but you can't go to sleep at 1 in the morning, wake up at 5 and hit the gym. You know what I mean? It just don't work like that. You're going to burn out quick. So it's like end goal oriented. Everything has to map to something at the end of the day. You can't make things happen like just out of nowhere. Like it has to map to something. So
exactly,
I'm gonna be honest,
very intentional.
I'm gonna be super transparent with y'all right now. I didn't even realize that I needed to have a self-evaluation of myself to figure out my end goal until I started realizing that it was affecting my like personal relationships. Like there'd be people who would ask me like, yo, what do you want in life? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I want to be successful. I want to have a nice car. I want to have a house and stuff. But like, what about happiness? Like, what about kids and marriage and investments and really just saying like, yo, what does it take to get there? And I never would have a conversation with myself like that. And I'm like, why am I doing this so late in life now? I think it's just because as a man, as you get older and as we progress, I mean, women too, everybody, but as you progress to like that different stage of your life, whereas you went from partying to now you have a family and kids, it's like you just have to like grow up too. Like I was acting like a man, but I was imaging myself as a man, but I was acting like I was like in college still. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, like the person that you really want to be, the person that you're dying to be, is just telling you it's time to get rid of these old traits so you can really be confident in the person that you are. And that's like the point I'm at right now.
I'll tell you what I did specifically, my fault, Lee. Specifically with myself, I had to tell myself, like, this is what I want to become. Success is far too broad. Like, because if you ask anybody what they want out of life, they're going to say, I want to be successful. But what is successful to you? You're successful, my successful, you're successful. They're not even the same successful. You know what I mean? Some people just want to be able to pay all their bills because they've never been able to pay their bills. You know what I'm saying? Like the past 5 years, I've just made enough to pay my bills. I just want to have $500 left over at the end of the month. And that's success to them. You know what I mean? So I had to set clear lines and be like, success for me is financial freedom. What is financial freedom? I make enough money from things that I don't have to trade hours in my day for and can pay my necessity grocery bill and put money away for my kids' college and pay my mortgage, that's what success is to me. Financial freedom. All right, now I know that financial freedom is what I want. I don't want to trade my time for hours. What do I have to do to get in that position? And then it starts aligning way easier. It's like, okay, well, I need to like save $50,000 and put it into, you know, stocks or get it into some real estate. These are the only ways to make this happen outside of, you know, blowing up and being an athlete, or you know what I mean, out of nowhere. And those days are done for me. Like that's not happening. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are the realistic ways I can make this happen? Nothing's gonna be easy. And I also told myself that I want to have more, because you're gonna have bad days in a year. There's 365 days in a year. You're gonna have bad days. I told myself that I want to have more happy days in a year than sad, or I want to enjoy what I did that day more days than I didn't. You know what I mean? So I don't need 365 good days, but I might need like 285. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the year, right? At the end of the year, I had more happy days. I enjoyed what I did those days than I didn't. And when I was working a job and I wasn't happy picking up the phones, if I did that 365, I wouldn't have had no happy days. You know what I mean? So I was on the other side of the curve.
Would you like some more wine?
A little, and I knew you to stop drinking my wine.
Didn't I buy you this?
Did you?
Cheers.
Don't be that way. First year was actually peaches and cream.
Yeah, it was smooth.
Once he turned about 1.5, he started acting crazy, and now
and
2 years old, a monster. Today he's 2.5, and he is crazy. Go back in that room. Because he's being difficult, which he still is till this day.
To this day.
So he needs to be on punishment for fucking 4 years, fucking first year.
I'm over it. Can't have no more kids. Don't have children. They stress your life out.
Sex.
They cost a lot of money.
It costs that much.
Some way, somehow, they're going to cost you money. You might not even notice it. But yeah, we go through a lot of grapes in this house.
Yeah, you ate majority of the grapes.
Grapes are expensive. Go in your room, now. Go. Go.
I don't know who you're talking to.
I'm your father. I told you to go in the room.
Nah, I'm your father.
Bye-bye.
Deep, were you about to?
Yeah, so we talking about boom, boom, boom. Okay, yeah.
We back like crap.
We back. I mean, I think to piggyback off of what Norm said, it starts with the end goal. And when you're always really focused on where you're trying to go, you don't let a whole lot of things stop you. But when you do get in those times, like I keep like really strong people around me. Like, I don't know if it's a gift I have, but I don't let people bullshit around me. So if you see me, I'm really always with my family or a few close friends, right? So when I get in those times and like I need that kick in the ass, I have those people around me. Sometimes they see it before I do. I swear to God, my mother's like, it's nuts. She'll call me some days. Like,
I remember that story you talk about when you were about to quit. Your mom had to press you to quit your own job.
There's times she'll call me and she'll be like, I just felt like something told me to call you today. I don't know what that connection is. I don't know what it is, but it's something there. But my mother's like huge for me. I can always just like, if I need something, I can call her. Sometimes she just calls me. And then for me, it's therapy. Like a lot of people look at therapy as like this like huge thing, but a lot of it is a conversation with yourself, and somebody's just kind of guiding you with it, you know? I've never been to therapy and she says, you need to go do this today. It's more of a discussion, and I'm like, she's guiding me that I'm having with myself. So it's kind of like that self-reflection, but you have like a trained professional to help you work through it. Like, since I started going, I stopped giving people advice. I don't know what you need to do. I don't know what your journey looks like. Here's a number for you. You know
That's the best I can do for you.
Yeah, this is what I can do for you, but I don't know how to help you, and I don't know how to help you with your relationship or this or that. Go talk to somebody else, because I don't want my hands on what you got going on. So, but for me, it's like you gotta start with the end goal, and that's the top of the staircase, and you just looking at those small steps you gotta take to get there.
Okay, so just segment into the next thing is because this all ties into, I think, like some form of love, like having some type of love and appreciation. I definitely want to touch on you two specifically because you have a wife and children, and I feel like, again, complete transparency, I just feel like those are things I do want. I just also don't think I'm acting as if I do want it. Right.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about it?
Hey, listen, what I said, we're going to talk about it. So, like, I'm at a point now, again, where I'm just assessing everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, like, some people don't deserve what I gave them, right? And I got to do a better job of making sure that I can be the man that they need to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether that's my girl, whether that's my mom, whether that's my brother, my grandmother, my aunt, like, and for the longest time, I'd be like, just like, yo, like, you know, if I come see you once a month or something, that's cool, like, whatever. Bro, my grandmother getting older. She want to see me as much as she can. Boy, you better pull up every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like, and for my excuse, it's like, oh, I got this meeting to go to. I got to do this podcast or this shoot. And it's like, but that's always going to be there. Like, when the people that love you are no longer there, then what? And it really took an experience for me to realize that none of this shit matters if the people I love aren't experiencing it with me. Right? So it's like, and I want to touch on that with you guys because, you know, congratulations on the marriage. You know, it's not new anymore, but it's still new.
It's new.
Still new?
3.5 months.
Okay. Oh, 3.5 months.
This guy's a vet. Like, this guy's a vet. Like,
You can't return it no
yeah, I know. Like,
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to touch on that and like how important it is for you to be like, I want to call like, and LeVar, everyone can jump in, but me and you were talking about earlier, like be a righteous man for the people that love you.
Right. So for me, since I'm more recent with my marriage, it took a point in my relationship. I've been with her for 8 years that I had to say, what do, like, the things I want to do, the things I want to transition in my life aren't things that you do for your girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ride that I want to take you on isn't a ride you take your girlfriend on. You take your wife on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just like, I'm cleaning up my financial act. I'm cleaning up everything that I was just doing, you know, out here. And it's just like, if I'm going to do all that, like, you need to be my girlfriend. It was awkward even going out, introducing her. This is my girlfriend, Ashley. You know what I mean? It didn't even sound right anymore because the things I was doing for her, the way I saw her in my mind, it was as a wife, and it was like, I just haven't made her my wife. Why haven't I made her my wife? We live together. Yeah. I bought a house for us to live in. We have children. Yeah. You know what I mean? I have an older son, and she like treats him like her own. You know what I mean? And he lives with us. You know, he was with me full time, and it's just like, why is she not my wife? She really is my wife. Like, it was the past couple years before I actually proposed, people actually would say like, oh, your wife Ashley, and I wouldn't correct them because it's like, yo, she really is. Yeah. And it's just like, why haven't I done this yet? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you just really come to a point of like maturity and just like, nah, this is what I want. I don't want a girlfriend no more. I want a wife. And when you lock it in and you really put that ring on her finger and you sign those papers, it's like, this is real now. This not like we get in an argument and you can just pack your shit and roll now. Yeah. You got to go to the court. You got to sign papers. We got to talk about some stuff. Who get what, who this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's much more of a conversation now. Like, you don't just throw marriage away. You know what I mean? You're going to have a conversation no matter what happens. Like, she can go and cheat on me, and it's not an automatic, like, I'm leaving you. We have to sit down and talk about it. Whereas a girlfriend and boyfriend, if you cheat on me, it might just be like, I'm out, because it's easy to break away from. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? But you have to have that conversation no matter. And it could be infidelity. It could be money. Money is more, actually, I've realized doing research, money is more problematic in marriage than infidelity. Yeah. It's actually the number one reason why people get divorced. It's not even cheating. Yeah. It's money. It's like, yo, you need to get your shit together. Like, you need to pay this stuff.
You can fuck all these skeezers, but you better make sure my
exactly. It's crazy.
Keep them lights on.
Exactly. It was like, you mess with all these women, but how dare the lights be off? Yeah. How dare there be no food in this fridge? Yeah. That's the least you could do. Like,
one. How you got
exactly. It's So it was just me coming to a realization that it was like, nah, I need to take her on this journey with me the proper way.
I think for me, like, I'm a vet in the game. Like,
you
said,
how much years?
Shit, man, it's so old. I don't even. Give me a minute. I gotta carry the one. My son was like 1. He's about to be 8. It's like 7 years we've been married. We've been together this month 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I always joke with her because when I met her, I didn't have a job. I'm like, yo, you.
That's crazy. Me neither. I didn't have a job either when I met my wife.
I think I got the job like the week after I met her. And I'm like, yo, school diploma, no job. Like, what you doing over there? But for me, it was just like reaching that level of maturity. Like, I didn't go through the phase you had where like I'm out partying and doing this. You never see me anywhere.
Yeah. That's real.
You could probably count on one hand the amount of times you see me some places, but it was just like reaching that level of maturity. Like, you know, when you start getting into the houses and you want to do more and more, then they ask. They start, you know. They start asking questions like, "What are we doing?"
Yeah,
you know,
you know, what's going on here?
What are we doing here? But it's just all of those things combined. It's just like a natural process, and for me, it was just like, I love her. I want to make her happy. I don't see myself with somebody else. So what am I doing here?
I definitely have a follow up for that, like kind of wrapped in with all y'all. So
It's gonna be good.
This gonna be so. I'm like a wanderer. Like, I'm like a drifter. Like, I'm the type of person, like, if I get in an argument with you, I'm about to be gone for like a week.
AKA ghosting.
Not even ghosting. I'll be back, but I'm gonna be gone for a week. I need to get my shit together.
Gone for September.
You feel me? And then I started to realize, like, yo, I'm scared to be like head over heels for a woman, because a part of me somewhere deep is just like, I feel like once I give you all of me, it's not gonna be good enough for you. Like, it's gonna be whatever you expected of me when I give it to you, everything. It won't add up to what you think. And I think it just came from like growing up. Like, I wasn't the coolest kid until like I got into my first fight. I got expelled from school, and I became a cool kid because I was deemed as bad, right? And then what came with that was like, you know, the notoriety, so that the girls want you. And then I started playing basketball, and then now you gang banging, fighting, basketball playing, like you just everything. Like, I need you.
All 5 of your stars.
You know what I'm saying? But and I started to fall in love with like the fact that people love the image of me, not necessarily me. Like, I never really gave you all of me. I gave you some of me.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, we went to the basketball games. Yeah, you my girl, whatever. But when it's time to leave, you go your way, I go mine, whatever the case may be. And I'm just not coming to terms with like the fact that that's probably one thing I don't like about myself, is that I can't. Well, not even I can't. I'm trading it now, but I need to find a way to stay grounded and disciplined inside a relationship, like whether good or bad, like whether motherfucking. I don't know, the worst of the worst happened. I need to be able to be in a relationship and still be myself, but make sure I'm still being a man. And I feel like that's probably the one fault I have.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was gonna say, I tell you what, man. When it comes to relationships, I feel like one of the ways to be most successful is like being your true self. Like, how authentic are you? Because I've been in situations where, you know, you meet a girl, and then you try to either meet her where she is by selling a dream, saying that you're someone that you're not or who you aren't yet. And your perception of yourself changes because of like who you're trying to get with. And I feel like it all begins with like how authentic you are as a person. Like, where does your integrity stand? Like, what are your intentions? It all draws back to intention. Like, what are you looking for out of this person? You know what I mean? And are they genuinely helping you become a better you?
But I got to turn on you, though.
Sure.
I got a question. It's like, when you know, like, everyone, you know, like, yeah, she's a good girl. She did this, and that. When did you just have that realization? And I'll disclose mine. But when did you have that real conversation with yourself? It was like, yo, you know what? I can't even imagine letting her go at this point.
I think it has to be like deeper than love, and a lot of people don't understand that. I've often said that I'm not the only person that my wife would have been happy with, and she's not the only person that I could be happy with. There's multiple people. I don't think that there's one person for us in this world. There's just too many people. I'm a realist by heart. You know what I mean? So it's like I think if something were to happen terribly, that she could move on and find happiness with another man, and the same thing with me. But it's our decision and our loyalty to each other to decide that this is who I want to build with. I think our bond is stronger than love. It's loyalty, and this is the person I want to actually build a life with. And then when you take it to love, loyalty, and who I'm building with, then it's much deeper. It's like, nah, we can't break up. We building a legacy here. Like, no. We got a last thing that we actually working for. Like, Like, okay, you made a mistake, but like, okay, just promise you're not gonna do that no more. And like, we can't just throw this away. We way deeper than flesh at this point. You know, it's we're working on stuff that needs to be passed down after we're gone. You know, once our flesh is gone, we're working on things that transcend us. You know what I mean? So it's like that's where we are now. It's loyalty, love, and like the actual like bondage between what we're building. So I think you got to find somebody like that you want to be with.
I think for me, I told you earlier, hard head make a soft ass. So I got to learn the lesson. I think for me, it was that feeling of, oh, thank you. See, ain't nothing in it. But I think for me, it was that feeling of like losing. So when you feel that, it's like shit change. You do things differently.
I just want to say, so going back to just understanding and identifying myself, I'm really good at like fucking up, and I'm really good at doing the makeup of fucking up. It's when things start to get consistent, and it's like on like now you're no longer fucking up. It's kind of like you just gotta make sure you're managing, like you're, you know, like making sure your shit tuned up, like as a car, like your shit fucked up, but now you get the oil change. So like now you go on the dates and.
So you're like saying it's hard for you to keep a streak going.
Yes, I need to work on that, on like being consistent. Where it's like I'm not complacent with where we're at. I want it to be bigger than that. Does anyone have any advice on that?
First, what I would say is that routine is gonna stop eventually. Like a girl could take so much of what you do. They're used to that cycle of, oh, you mess up, you go get some edible arrangements, some flowers, or you go to things to remember. Like you know, they get used to that system. And then honestly, you mentioned a good point, afraid of losing. Like I lost. You know, and I had to go through the lowest points to be like, you know what? Look in the mirror. I need to be able to be a better me, to be a better man, to be a better boyfriend. And to be honest with you, just to like really and truly like answer your question, like you have to understand, like you need to be okay with being uncomfortable. You need to be okay and embracing the change. You know, if you can't embrace the change, some people, us as men, right, in general, we're afraid to change because we're afraid to see how our friends will view us after we change. But me, I embrace the change. I embrace like the criticism, the respective criticism I received from her. Like, all right, in order for me to be a better man, I need to do this, but I did it for me, not for her. You know, so I realized, all right, if you do things for the relationship, you're gonna get back to square one with the back and forth tussling and arguing. But if you do it for you and you're happy with the person you are, then everything will come full circle. And honestly, I was okay with not going to clubs. I was okay with, y'all know me, I was hosting parties at various clubs. I was okay with that. I was okay with girls not being in my DMs as much. I'm proud to post on my girl every day. And guess what? I'm fine with it. Kissy emojis, everything. I embrace it. I love it. You know what I mean? And it was just a perfect like connection.
You know what? I think I'm too reserved. Like I'm a reserved person. I think like if you see me at events, I'm a have a conversation with you. I'm gonna say what up. It's always gonna be love, but to a point. Like if you see me in a party for longer than an hour and a half, eventually you're gonna see me in the corner somewhere, just kind of just doing my own thing. Like I'm not trying to be, or like I talk to people and I say something, but I won't tell you everything. Like I'll be like, you be like, oh, how you doing? Everything good? Like, that's cool to be that out here. But I was also being that in my relationship. And that is detrimental. Like it was like I would like stop her from like coming to certain things because I just loved my brand so much. I'm like, yo, if I introduce you and I share you with this brand, and then for some reason we don't work out, then I'm gonna hate my brand because you're not part of it. And that, for me, I had to be like, yo, you have to find a way to figure that shit out, because you're never going to be with someone if you think like that. Like, what woman do you know loves their man and doesn't want to be a part of the shit that they got going on?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like, what I had to really come to terms with is like, give all of me. It's going to be hard as fuck.
Right.
But give all of me and just hope it works. Like, you have to believe. And I've been going to church. Shout out to Seed Time and Harvest in Windsor. If you haven't gone, check it out. Pull up. You feel me? Sundays, 10 a.m. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that the last Sunday we went, it was just I have a problem like believing that there's a God.
Right.
Just because like when growing up, my dad's side was Seventh-day Adventist. My mom's side was Christian. So I'm going to church from Friday to Sunday. I'm learning about same God, two different ways. And it's just like, then I started learning about Buddha and all these other things. And then there just be things that happen in life. And I'm like, yo, there's no way you could tell me there's a God and then that happened. No way. Like all these innocent people just dying and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, this is just science, right? So I'll be going through all these like internal battles with myself because how I'm going to church and everyone's like, yeah, praise God, and I'm like, I ain't even really know God. I'm kind of just here because it's Sunday type shit, like, you know what I'm saying? And one sister, Sarah, Eddie's mom, I love her to death. I asked her, I was like, yo, how do you know that there's a God? And she was like, yo, you at the end of it all, long story short, you just have to believe. Yeah. When you get out, when you wake up in the morning, you start your car. You believe that shit about to start up, right?
Yeah.
When you sit down in one of these chairs, you believe that shit about to hold you up, right? When you put gas in your car, you believe that shit about to drive off, right? She said that's how you gotta take the philosophy into life. And once she said that, so much things made more clear sense to me. It's just like, yo, you just have to really believe. So I'm at a very transparent point in my life where I'm just believing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of things are faith-based. I grew up the same way. I'm still kind of the same way because, like I said, I'm a realist by heart. Yeah. And there's a lot of science that kind of proves opposite of religion and faith. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to, like, balance the two. But I've come to terms with it for two reasons. The first is I just want to be a good person. And being a photographer, I've been introduced to a lot of the spiritual world because churches book me. I have a lot of relationship with a lot of pastors and reverends, and they bring me to their churches. And I don't go to church often, but every time I go to church, it might be 4 or 5 times a year when I'm booked, it's like I relate to everything they're saying. It's because faith and church isn't necessarily like you necessarily have to believe in God. It's just you being a good person to everybody in your life, to everybody you come across, is being a good person. If you are a good person, you will align with a lot of things with faith. So I don't necessarily have to even struggle with the idea of is there a God or not. I just want to be a good person. And I think if you focus on that, it's like I want to do right by people. I want to, make sure I'm not, in a bad space with anybody. And you just, that works in your business, that works in your home, that works with your children. You know what I mean? And it's just that's just how I've dealt with it, to be honest with you.
I feel like morality is like a basic concept that we tend to forget, man. As far as what it means to actually be a good person. Like, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you look at all the decisions you made towards someone else, is that some way that you want to be treated towards yourself? And I think most often we get lazy with the way we approach situations. Like, we're so familiar with these cycles that we grew up in that, oh my gosh, we become accustomed to, and we find excuses to make for ourselves. We don't even need anyone to make excuses for us anymore. We make them for ourselves and justify our own decisions to a point where we're so comfortable in this place of like bad decisions that it carries on into like society and like outwardly how you treat everyone else. And I feel like Norman said, like, trying to be a good person, like, what does that look like? What's morally correct? How do people deserve to be treated? And at the end of the day, it doesn't have to do with like sex, doesn't have to do with, race. It's like we're all one human race. So if we approach each other as equal and don't judge people off of like how they've made their decisions, then I feel like we'd be a lot better off, because now we're able to approach every situation, every interaction we have with each other equally. I could look at you as an individual who's living his life the best way that he can, and so on and so forth for everyone at this table. And the moment I started doing that, I think I think Jesus King came out, and people look at Kanye, as a madman. Whatever your opinion is, I'm not gonna express my opinion. But one thing I do know for certain is that he never really cared what people said. And one thing I'm realizing is he doesn't care what other people say because he's not judging how other people live their life. He's just worried about himself. I think the more we focus on our individual journeys, the more we'll be able to appreciate that no one's perfect and that everyone deserves the same equality when it comes to how we should be treated. And it's all is fair.
I got married super quick between proposing and stuff. So the person who married me and my wife, we just did just a quick little 2-hour sit down with the pastor and was like, all right, give us your best shot. That's the only thing you got for us. You got this 2-hour session. Give us the best counseling you could get. And he know that I've always struggled with believing in God and stuff like that my whole life because I went to school with him. And he was saying that faith is that in itself. It's faith. You have to believe. He's like, the moment I have to prove something to you, you never believed it in the first place. Because if I have to prove it to you, you never believed it. You never had faith in it. Just like how you said, your car is going to start, so you don't think nothing of it. You put the key in there. You don't check the battery first and be like, is everything connected? You believe that it's going to start. And that's the same thing with God and faith and whoever you believe in. It's if I have to prove to you and show you a physical being, you never believed in the first place. And that's what faith is. And that walks you through life, period. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You can have all these goals. He could have went to school for 4 years and got his first degree, and he had all these plans, but he had no idea he wanted to go into social work. You know what I mean? His whole faith base was the original degree. And then something happened, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to go on this new journey. And these next 2 or 3 years to acquire this master's degree, I know what I want on the other end of this. I don't really know if it's going to happen, though. You know but I'm still going to take this 2-3 year journey. You know what I mean? And that's faith. That's no different than anything else. He didn't know that he was going to get on the other end of that and get a job working in the neighborhood that he grew up. Yeah, exactly. He had no idea. He was just like, all right, I like this. I know it's 2 years or whatever. I don't know the program he was in, to obtain this. I'm just going to do it. And we're going to see what happens. It's faith.
I just think for me, I don't know, man. I just I don't know how to let go of shit. So I take even getting a degree. I'm like, yo, I went to 5 different schools just for basketball and shit. Came back, we had to start back a year. My credits would have left me as a junior, but they had to start me as a sophomore. Got the degree, then the struggle to just even attain a good job, through it all, it was just hit after hit. Yo, bro, I'm lying? I'm lying? Yo, I'm telling you, as soon as the shit was even started to make a little bit of sense, I got 3 jobs at once. I got 3 jobs, and I'm like, yo, okay, I can start doing something. Out of nowhere, my manager called me. She's like, hey, we love you as an employee. We think you're great, but we hired too much people. Don't worry about coming back in. Click.
Oh, my God.
That's nuts. That doesn't make sense.
I couldn't believe it when I was on the phone. I was like, what?
Wow.
I still have the voicemail, I think, to be honest. I had to call her back, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm just unemployed? You could just fire me like this?
On the voicemail?
She left the voicemail. She was like, hey, give me a call when you get it. When you get this, we have to talk. And I'm like, all right, because I had a shift maybe 2 hours. I was getting ready to go to work. And she called me. She's like,
I was about to come in.
Yeah,
don't even bother.
Yeah, don't even bother coming in.
Take your shoes off.
Relax.
That's just even one stint of something that's and that's the smallest. And it's just yo, after a while, I just started looking back at my life. I'm like, yo, I've been throughout my whole life, I've been I feel like I've been kicked down so much. But and then I'm like, yo, everybody been kicked down though. Yeah. Why am I taking it so personal? Yeah. You know, and I think I just, again, growing up and becoming a better individual in a sense is like what's been kind of like grounding me and just. But my thing is, I just need to really focus on sticking with it. That's it. Like, I can get all the bouquets and roses, and I can make sure I'm going to work punctual on time for a certain amount of time, but I got to make sure. That's a goal for myself that I'm setting for myself, is that Nipsey Hussle is one of my biggest influences ever. And I was watching his video, and I was ashamed to watch this man's video. And I'm like, yo, how is this person, him and like Jay-Z and other people, how are these people men that I look up to and I idolize? And I'm not even living up to even a centimeter of like what they represent as a person. Like if you see Nipsey or Jay, they flourishing, their girlfriend, they know, you know. They out here handling business, making moves, stuff like that. I'm just like, yo, this is why I feel like I'm just so like inside, I'm so internally like unbalanced, because I'm like the person that I want to be, I'm still living like the person I was, and like it's just like,
because you need to learn to throw out the old luggage and focus on that journey, and you don't look back. When you driving, act like you don't have no
tunnel vision.
You have tunnel vision, and the only person that's in that passenger seat is your girl, and what you're going towards is make sure it's aligned with both of you guys. Yeah. And I feel like you were so, and the first thing, let me give kudos to you, like you are able to identify this now. Some people are in their 50s and 40s still going to 21 plus clubs and still having a hard time trying to identify what they really want. You own it, you put in your practice on, you know what, you realize like these are the things I need to change. So that's step one. And now what you need to do is embrace it. Embrace the journey with her, enjoy the imperfections, because no one's perfect. And once you embrace it and you block out everybody else, everything is going to be perfect, because you don't have to worry about what other people view, what people say, because now you don't have to worry about these side people coming at you, this person talking about you, because at the end of the day, if you ain't going back home to them, their opinion is irrelevant. Matter.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I agree. I mean, how do you guys feel? I feel like this was great. I feel like this was like super good therapy amongst friends. Like, how do y'all feel? How do y'all guys feel, honestly?
It's a beauty just to hear, you know, other brothers' stories.
Perspective.
Everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different journey, and it just motivates me. Like honestly, like I was already fired up during the day because I'm always in a good mood. But this has just made me even more hungrier to understand like where I want to go. You know what I mean? So like, definitely. That's
absolutely true. I'm always in a good mood too. My girlfriend, my wife.
Wait,
see, it's new. You see, it's new. You know, see, it's new. She hates it. Like I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, like I'm ready. I'm good to go. And she like hates it. Like nah, calm down. Like give me 30 minutes. Like please.
Let me catch up.
Like I'm always happy. Doesn't matter.
But how did this conversation make you feel?
I'm just here for the conversation, period. I just like to talk, the dialogue, the conversation between. And I think it's great that it's all young professional men going through their situations, whether you got a wife and children or you single looking for the right lady. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I think the perspective of having the conversation from two different ends is needed. Yeah. Like you need people in where you want to go. And it could be it doesn't have to be like I'm a millionaire and you make $40,000 a year. Like it can be as simple as like I'm single and you married. How'd you get there? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like because that's where I want to go. That's a component of what I want my life to take.
Right. I think from this conversation, you know, it's important to make yourself vulnerable in times, because most often as men, you know, we have pride. Too much pride to the point where we're afraid to speak up on certain things that can genuinely help us. So what I enjoyed the most is the fact that we're able to communicate and be transparent, because now you're opening yourself to solve problems. And I think as you're figuring out how to solve these problems, everyone around you is figuring out how to solve their problems, because we can all reflect on like who we are, our own personal situation, and see how we apply our decisions and like the things that we hear from one another.
I think for me it feels good.
You came on really slick though.
What
I think for me,
for me it was. I mean, it was just good to hear other people's perspectives, man. Like me and Norm kind of grew up together. Like we went to the rec together. Like we spent our summers together. You never know that, but we played dodgeball together almost every day. Yeah. We played dodgeball together every day.
Dodgeball legends.
Yeah, but it was good to just hear other perspectives. But I think it's a common theme, like, you know, people who are trying to reach a certain point or have reached a certain point. You hear common themes where you sort of got to let go of the ego. You know, you're vulnerable. You've had these transparent moments with yourself, and it's just a common thing that I think we all sort of like a bond that we all have. You know.
All right. Before we wrap it up, please go around, say your social media handles where people can find you, and I always try to end off with like, I don't know, a motivational quote that you guys kind of live by, or like something like, if you're like, you know, well, I don't know, like Norman, you might just wake up and be like, today's gonna be a great day, or like, if you're down, like something to pick you up type of thing. So social media handles and a motivational, inspirational quote.
Absolutely. NormanOates.com. That's probably the most professional way because I'm tired of the emails and then the text messages and the DMs on 5 different social media. It's too much to check. But anyway, if you appreciate me, NormanOates.com, hit the contact tab. But you can find me on Instagram at Notes, that's Noates. For my personal page, you can get to know me a little bit there, or Notes Photo for my professional page.
Before you even say your motivational quote, I want to say I appreciate the conversations you be having, like the talks you have, like with you and your wife by yourself. Just that, if no one has checked it out, I'll probably put some of those highlights in the video, but check those out, man. Like for any entrepreneur, for anyone that just wants to be a better person, those are great, like 1 minute, a minute and a half clips of just talking about like the necessities or the just things you experience that people might not or be thinking about and not know interest to. So
I want to say probably the quote that I live by many of the quotes, but one that kind of keeps me like motivated is super straight to the point. Like I'm a realist. Is are you gonna do it or are you not? You know what I mean? And that's really what a lot of life comes down to. Like I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. sometimes. I'll hit the snooze. It's 5:08, and it's like, am I going to sleep or am I going to get this workout? At the end of the day, you know, and if I go and get these 2 hours in, it's going to move me one step closer to the goal. If I sleep in, I'm stagnant. You're going to do it or you're not.
Lee Williams, no IG Lee on the Instagram. There's an underscore in there somewhere.
I think at the end.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere.
It is in the middle. Yeah,
it's in the middle. Business Elite Yard works with an X. You can find me online, www.eliteyardworks.com. Instagram, Facebook as well. Motivational quote I would think would just be embrace the journey.
Boom. Like it.
Period.
I like it.
So James Tobias, you can find me on Instagram. Most of my work is there. All my work is there. That's Mr. Vibrant I, MR Vibrant, EYE. And I one motivational quote, or one thing that I would say is, you know, be the light. Let your light shine as an individual before others, you know, and show people like who God is in you. And you know, however you interpret it. For me, it's more so like, all right, if I'm going to be an individual, like how do I want people to perceive me in my light and what I believe in, and just be you know, be authentic.
LeVar Mitchell, Instagram, Twitter is money_making without the G _L.
Talk to him. Talk
that shit.
So, yeah, follow me, money_making without the G _L. You can also find me at Achievement First, Hartford High. 305 Greenfield Street.
Shouts out them bad kids.
Man, but guess what? We're ranked #1 high school in the state of Connecticut.
Hello.
So I'm letting you know right now, all of our seniors get college acceptance letters, but also you can find me there or Eastern Connecticut State University. I got 3 things that really like always hit me every day. One of them I actually have tatted on me from the Bible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's one. Also, if you ever follow me on IG, one main thing I always say is know your purpose. You always got to know your purpose in life. And then lastly, it's a quote from Kevin Durant, which is hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard.
I don't know if that was from Durant, but he probably uses it often.
Well, he's doing Jadaverse.
Y'all know me, man. It's your boy Timeless Trail. I have no underscores or hashes, or it's just Timeless Trail. I was very fortunate to have a really solid, straight through name on Instagram and Twitter.
You got in early. Been on there for a while.
Company page, Rejuv-Nation. All the interviews are going to be on the website, so that's REJUV-Nation.com. I had to put the dash in there because people couldn't disassociate rejuvenate and nation, so I had to make sure it was but I don't really do quotes, but one quote I'm a just because all my guys said it is stay dangerous. That's in my bio. I think it just goes to like, for me it means more so like,
who's that, YG? Stay dangerous?
Yeah,
it was YG.
Was it him?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what I'm using right now. YG, shout out to you, bro. I didn't even know that was from you. But for me it's more so like, yo, just always be like, have your, like, be sharp. Always be prepared. Are you ready? Like, be the man or the woman or that you want to be, and you have no choice but to require, demand respect from the people and that's staying dangerous. Always being in a position where you are looked at as a successful, positive, uplifting person, because that can take you way farther than a negative approach to life. With that being said, my boy Norm the Gnome. I named him, Jay. Norm the Gnome.
I like it.
We are out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave some feedback. Drop some what you like, what you didn't like. And if you like this type of stuff, man, let me know, because it was very therapeutic for me. I would love to have this like maybe once a month with like different individuals, or if anyone wants to be reoccurring members, that's cool too. And just highlighting things that I feel like to the normal society now it's more open, but we need to indulge on this within our own platforms and our own channels too. So it's your boy Timeless Trail. You're tuned to the Rejuv-Nation podcast, and we are out.